In this video, we're going to go over how to create a pie chart using Google Sheets, which you were asked to do on our data display practice, and we were given some data on the presidents in which to do that. Now, the first question we're asked with the pie charts is, what of this data should we use for a pie chart? Because we have a bunch of different data here. I'm going to actually resort my sheet. I realized I unsorted it. So we have what president number they are, their name, their age, their political party affiliation, their height in different units of measure, and their birth state. Now, when it comes to pie charts are really good data displays to show qualitative data. Data that sort of describes is often thought of, or I like to think sort of you put things into categories. Like I could sort them into different groups as I sort of, think about how many go in this group, how many go in this group. So they're not necessarily measuring stuff. There isn't like a numerical value with it. Now, something like presidential number or name is not, even though that's data, it's not data that we're really going to want to put in a display for this particular sort of thing. When we look at age at inauguration, that would be a quantitative data. And yes, I could put that in a pie chart, but it's probably not the most helpful form of looking at the data. I think I'd prefer to deal with a histogram on that one. So political party, though, is a group, it's a category. And so one of the first ones that we could do qualitative data on is right here, and I'm going to highlight it in orange, my sort of political party affiliation. Those are groups, there you can sort them into categories. The other one would be our birth state. So where the different political parties are born, and I think I'm going to switch this one to green too because that's a much sort of calmer looking color. Again, sorting into groups. And so I could make pie charts with either of these sets of data. The choice was up to you which one I'd want, and I would justify my decision with using either of these as they are both qualitative data, and that's what I want to use when making a pie chart. So I'm going to sort of go two different routes here. So one route with making a data is I select my data, and I just selected the whole column because I got nothing else in this column besides this data. And I can do that by selecting this sort of head of the column up here, and I'm going to go Insert Chart. I want to insert a chart. Now you'll notice that is not the chart I want, and it doesn't always pop up the one I want. So I'm going to go over here in my chart editor, and I'm going to change my scatter plot, and notice it does recommend a pie chart, so I'm going to switch it over to a pie chart. And now I'm going to sort of go through and do some customizations with this because I find that they never have good titles. Political party affiliation, that's, I'm going to say political parties of U.S. presidents, because that's really what we're describing here. Now, I might notice that like not all of my things are labeled, and you could, I don't want donut holes. I sort of sometimes like to just sort of play around with like, what do I want? Oops. I may want to add position auto. So you could change this to sort of be more like this, but then you sort of lose, some of it. Now I notice if I make my graph a little bigger, I do get that other piece labeled, which is what I was looking to do. And so now I have sort of a nice pie chart. It has everything labeled that I could want on it. And so I would want to then put this into my sort of data display quiz. Now, just a sort of general note, you could take a screenshot of this, but you can also just copy and paste it. And it, if I copy it from here and then I paste it directly into the text box on my little practice, it should show up there perfectly. The issue with links is not all types of images open well, so we want to try and embed that image. Now, the last but not least is you were asked to write a sort of comment that, sort of would summarize your pie chart in a quick little bit. I might go more, in the course of U.S. history, most presidents have been Republican, and that might be it. That's it, and that's supported by my data. I have 41% of the presidents have been Republican, or, you could say something 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 different, there's only been 7 different political parties ever elected to office in the United States. You could say there was only one president who didn't have a political party who was elected to office. That was George Washington. There's all sorts of things I could do with this particular data display. I wanted to just quickly show the other method if I wanted to, using a computer to create this pie chart. I'm going to delete this chart out since we're done with it. But if I wanted to make a pie chart for the birth states, there is a button up here in the menu. It's a mini little chart. You'll notice it's an insert chart. So instead of going to the insert menu, I can just hit this button. And it does put a chart in, and just like before, I can switch it to a pie chart. I would, birth states, of U.S. presidents. And again, you would want to go through and answer the remaining questions. I think one was like, about what you see here within the data. Patterns, trends, other things, and the thing with this is really like, as long as it's based on what you're seeing, there isn't necessarily a wrong answer to that final question of like, write a comment that summarizes the data. This might be like, I can't believe that most presidents were born in Virginia. Like, can't we get a president from Arizona? I don't know, something like that. Or there's never been a president who was born in fill in the state, Arizona. Things like that. That would be okay. I wasn't giving you a specific thing. It was more just like, right now we're practicing, can we create these data displays? Hopefully this helps a little bit and gets you sort of kick-started on what you might want and see in your sort of pie chart areas and sort of fun things you can do with them. There's a lot of other cool things you can do to sort of make your pie charts look prettier. I don't tend to do that, but if you're into that, you can make these all shades of whatever. Have some fun. Enjoy making some pie charts.